Hey everyone, welcome back again. Thanks so much for joining us. It is the 14th of December. It's been a quick December, a quick year going through, but this year is moving and we're going to move quickly into 2022. And just as quickly as we'll be moving, here is Chad Clay joining me again. Chad, thanks so much once again.
What's up, guys? Hey, Pops. Good to be back again. After last week's missed episode, I apologize for that because I was ill, and I did have a negative COVID result. So I'm not, part of the stigma around. This one is unsafe because he had COVID.
Yeah, you guys up in Joburg, they're passing things around, and some people are bringing it to Cape Town. We need to keep it out of Cape Town. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, you guys came fishing for it as well with that cheese fixture.
Yeah, we were forced to go there, and we're still waiting for our 3 points. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, hopping straight on that. Actually, I mean, we never even spoke about it, but the chairman has come out and he's had a long discussion. I don't know if you've seen his interview, but just kind of seems like we still don't know where we're going yet. We're still gonna have to have meetings and see what happens.
Yeah, I had a go at the whole process last week. In our last show, and I must say, it's shocking that I think it's their fifth meeting now. For such a straightforward case, I mean, you shouldn't be having so many meetings to discuss an outcome of a rule that you made a year ago. If anything, they should be, looking at revising that rule and reconsidering, their whole stance around COVID-19 and the current pandemic and how it actually affects footballers or football and the health and safety of footballers and everyone involved. So I don't see why they're having a fifth meeting to decide this Kaizer Chiefs case when the real problem is actually that COVID-19 exists. There's a fourth wave, and players and staff and all football stakeholders are at risk. So just make a simple decision to change the rule that was made in August last year. It's really not that complicated.
Yeah, let's hope it. I mean, just I don't want to harp on that too much, but let's just hope it gets sorted out quicker. Chad, we were supposed to have a guest today. He hasn't showed up yet. Don't know what's happening. I don't want to give away too much just in case he does pop up. And if not, then we'll always bring him back on another time. But it would be interesting to chat to him, to see him, and give people some insight as to what he's up to now. But we'll leave it at that for now. I'm gonna jump straight into it. Talking about problems around, not problems, but the way the league is at the moment, issues that have gone on. I'm gonna play a clip here, which is from the recent game, Orlando Pirates against Galaxy, and Galaxy's owner struggling to get into the stadium. So let's just have a look at this and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Accreditation by the league, from the league, and it's an all access. So that allows me entry into the stadium, and it's written all access. And that means exactly that. But then, when I just arrived at the stadium, the Orlando Pirates security said they were told not to let me in. Everyone else could go in, but not me. That's where it started. And I couldn't understand. I'm still, as I said, shocked and lost for words. And even the law enforcement officers, the police that were there, they also, they didn't have any control of the situation. They themselves seem to have been given the same order from somewhere. And I tried my best. I phoned the CEO of the league, and unfortunately she was not available to answer the call. And then I phoned the chairman of Orlando Pirates, obviously, who also happens to be the chairman of the league. We spoke a good 3, 4, 5 minutes, explaining the situation. And then he asked me he said I could enter, but I should go to our change room, not to the field. Mind you, I've got an all-access card. I took it as a compromised position. But when the security officer took the phone and spoke to him on the side, the chief of security, he came back, he still denied me access.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's just, the negative publicity just doesn't end for our league. Obviously, those scenes should never be happening especially on public platforms. But obviously, TS Galaxy chose to air that because they want to expose, the shenanigans that happen behind closed doors, especially now that media's still not able to attend games in person. So we don't get to see these things and, try and investigate and find out, what's going on, what actually happened. But as Tim explained, rightfully he has an all-access pass, which the PSL gives to club officials at the beginning of every season. So there's no reason for him to be denied access into what there we see is the tunnel. So that door leads into the tunnel of Orlando Stadium with the change rooms on either side and the field, right ahead.
Yeah.
So as the chairman, I mean, he has every right to go into the change room, and Irvin Koza does it as well when Orlando Pirates, are playing big games and all that. So why is Tim Sukazi denied access? And to be brutally honest, it's actually a massive issue at Orlando Pirates. We read a few months ago, national team coach Bafana coach Hugo Bruce also denied access. I don't think he was actually given access into the gate, if I'm not mistaken, at the entrance of the stadium. So while Tim was in the stadium and wasn't allowed in the change room area and the field area, I don't think Hugo Bruce was allowed into the stadium gates to even park his car there.
He didn't make it
which
that
is shocking.
far.
I mean, for Bafana coach, who I'm sure also has an all access pass, things like that shouldn't be happening. And in my own experience, I mean, as a journalist, after matches, that's where I go into the press conference room, and those securities often it's these huge bouncer looking security guards, and they just feel this arrogance and sense of power to deny you access, whether you have a pass or not. They sort of use their own discretion as to who they'll allow and when they'll allow you in. And I had not a altercation of that nature, obviously, but I had to argue with one of the securities because I had a journalist's pass, which meant I need to go in there to access the press conference room, and he flat out refused because apparently I was too early because the final whistle had just gone. So I rushed down to grab a good seat and everything, and I was denied when there's no reason for me to be denied when the final whistle has gone, and I'm eligible to enter to go to the press conference room. So it's really just sad to see that in 2021 things like this are still happening, and it goes unpunished. And Tim is a qualified attorney. He was a former practicing attorney, and he's worked on a lot of high profile cases. So from a legal perspective, he knows exactly what he was doing and what he's going to do and how he's going to address this matter. He's already said he's written to the league and everything, and he expects a response, a timeous response. Otherwise, he'll take legal action, and he has every right to. I mean, the way he was sort of manhandled there is also against his rights as a human. So I'm sure you'll obviously take action there if the league fails to do so.
Yeah, it's not stuff that we want to see. It's not the way we want to move forward. Especially if you talk about taking the league forward, those are not the kind of things you want to see. And I mean, obviously, Tim did look. He did talk about how that may have affected his team's result. As you can see, they did end up losing 2-0 against Pirates. He did go on about. He wasn't there to support the boys. He wasn't allowed to support the boys. And sometimes depends on, on every owner's different. Maybe he does play a big part in the dressing room. Maybe, obviously the players, they hear about these things before the game and, they get frustrated. I mean, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but who knows? Who knows how certain teams are? I mean, I know at Cape Town City, John Comitas likes to make himself very available to the players. So he'll come in the dressing rooms. At Bidvest Wits, the owner never ever really came into the dressing room. He came to the game and then he kind of went home. He'd come in on one or two occasions. So, yeah.
But Jose, Pirates, I'm sure, was in and out of the dressing room.
Yeah, Jose would be more, obviously more around the players, but I'm talking about owners, in terms of the owners and things like that. So
Yeah.
maybe it played on the result, maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, as like you say, players find out. Or I'm not sure if I saw correctly, but I think there might have been one or two players in the doorway there. So some might have witnessed the whole altercation, and that obviously affects your psyche because now automatically you assume that these guys are using underhand tactics to try and unsettle the team and all that. So
Yeah,
of course, I mean, we hear about it all the time when our clubs go and play in Africa. And maybe Pirates are practicing for the Confed group stages
yeah,
by doing these sort of things before games. So it does have an effect on the players and their psyche and their whole mental approach to the game. So maybe that did play a part, and who knows what continued after that altercation that was on video. Maybe there was continued fighting. Maybe the coaches were involved. Maybe other people started getting involved, and it could have
yeah,
been a real messy show in that tunnel where the players would have walked in and out to go and warm
yeah,
up and do all those things. So I definitely think he has a case on his hands when he says it affected the way they played.
yeah. Going on the other result, obviously, the Tshwane Derby,
Funny,
Sundowns taking on SuperSport at Sundowns. It's
yeah,
away game for Sundowns, but it's still kind of home. I still don't get
yeah,
it, but hey, that's the way it is at the moment.
yeah,
Yeah, very, very, won't say disappointing result for SuperSport, seeing as the situation they're going through.
yeah. And they were affected by COVID as well. Just before the game, they released a
Yeah.
statement saying that the coach and a few key players, I think Tebogo Mokoena was one of the players
Well,
absent.
that's why I said the
Um,
situation they're going through at the moment.
exactly. So, I think it's something they'll probably take on the chin, and they'll just I'm sure they would have learned from the Kaizer Chiefs situation and how it was handled.
Yeah,
Instead of forfeiting a 3-0 defeat, I mean 1-0 is not as bad because your goal difference doesn't take as much of a knock. But of course,
yeah. And
and
anything
we
happens
spoke
on the
about
day.
yeah, we spoke about it before as well. SuperSport doesn't have the greatest of records against Sundowns, so I'm pretty sure they weren't going in with the intention of actually beating Sundowns, but maybe to try and get a point and walk away with a point or something. But a nice experience for Andre Arendse, getting
Yeah,
to lead the team in Caetano Tembo's absence, and some good experience for another coach that could be breaking into the head coaching scene in the not so distant future. So I hope he he took some good points out of his experience, and we get to see him use it full time as a head coach going forward, because I do believe Andre is obviously a legend in the game,
yeah,
and he's got a lot to offer South African football.
yeah. Um, Obviously, it was quite a. I mean, how can I say, quite a busy weekend, not only for those teams, but obviously Kaizer Chiefs came back. They played, um,
Yeah,
and they played. When was it? They played on Sunday, but the rest of the
Sunday.
game, yeah, the rest of the games on Saturday. Obviously, Swallows,
And Malasela.
yeah, Swallows going down. Two new coaches again, going at each other. Unfortunately, they didn't. They weren't able to get anything from Maruma Gallants. But for me, quite an interesting result is the Chipper game, Chipper AmaZulu. I think not a bad draw for Kurt against AmaZulu.
Yeah, and AmaZulu took the lead early on, I think, and then Chipa came back and fought out for the point. Obviously, a nice morale boosting result for them and for Kurt
Yeah,
after their defeat last week. So he's making some baby steps, but progress is progress nonetheless.
yeah.
And obviously, I think it's the 10th draw for Benny now. So
11th. I think it's
pressure's
the 11th.
really 11.
Yeah,
So yeah, pressure's really mounting, and he might have jinxed himself, because I think at the beginning of the season, he was quoted as having said he doesn't want to become the new Swallows, and turns out he's putting up a very
yeah,
close fight for that title going for, I think Swallows was 16 draws last season.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously tough times for AmaZulu and Benny and Munib and Vasily and all of them. So it's just it's not getting any easier from this point forward. And when the time to get results is actually in the first half, and if you struggle now, then chances of scrapping for results in the second round become a lot more difficult because teams are now in the relegation scrap and all that. So definitely think AmaZulu are out of the title race. I'll put my head on the chopping block here and say there's no ways they'll recover to a point where they can actually put up a title challenge, which would have been nice, and I think it would have been expected after Benny's first season with him last season.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit out of it now. A long way to go. Obviously, quite a few games left in the season, but if you look at the top there, the teams are buzzing at the moment. It's a lot of work to do, definitely. Obviously, we went out to Baroka. So Cape Town City stayed in Joburg, well, in Polokwane. We had Baroka, but I don't know if you got to see the game. I tried to watch most of it, but there were some issues with Dstv. Now there was bad signal. Couldn't really catch too much. I saw obviously they got a penalty. We saved the penalty, and the game was always just seemed like it was always headed for a draw. So a little bit of a won't say too disappointing a result, seen as the situation Baroka's in also. Obviously, they're going to be trying to get at the bottom. But I think it's a game that we definitely wanted all 3 points. That was the thought going into the game is to get the 3 points. But at the end of the day, I think a 0-0 draw, not too bad a result.
Yeah, I think against the Baroka side, who are obviously, like you mentioned, fighting to get off the bottom, it's not going to be easy for anyone going there. It really is, a difficult place to go, and especially like you said, the team stayed in Joburg and then took the road trip to Polokwane. So condition-wise, they maybe not the best conditions to be in away from home for an extended period, bus trips. It's never comfortable. So to go there and battle for a point against a relegation threatened team is not bad at all. Obviously, if it was a home advantage, then you'd look at it a bit different. But in this case, I think a point is fair.
Yeah. Let's look at Sunday. So Sunday we had some interesting fixtures, but not a lot of good results, except for Chiefs who come back for the first time in 2 weeks after taking a COVID leave. They are now back in action, and with a 2-0 win over Sekekune with quite a youngish squad. I see Fabian McCarthy's son made the squad for the first time. He got a nice promotion, so it's always good to keep that family tradition going, if I can say that. But for the rest of the games, a little bit of draws.
There was an injection of a couple of the MDC guys actually on the bench.
Yeah.
Obviously, being mindful of the fact that some of the players did test positive with their last batch of tests. So, they weren't at full strength, but I definitely think, Sekekune will be feeling like, Chiefs were well rested. They haven't played for 2 weeks. They obviously had the upper hand in this case. So, but it's obviously nice to see, Chiefs haven't lost the momentum. They came out guns blazing and obviously did what they were doing before the COVID enforced break. It's the result obviously keeps them in second position, and they really look like they can put up a challenge for the title this season. Also considering that those 2 games, depending on what the PSL rules, whether it's a replay or whether it's forfeitures, the situation could change at the top of the table there.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at that straight away then. Obviously, Sundowns still at the top. But it is nice and close. See Pirates obviously making their way back up there, but still miles. Everyone's kind of miles behind Sundowns at the moment, and it's not really going to be it shouldn't in this situation be too much of an issue for Sundowns to take the league. But the rest of us have to try and climb up on our horse and keep trotting along and see how far we can actually go. But slowly Sekhukhune moving down, Royal AM dropping points, obviously. Well, dropping points. Usually they're winning. But yeah, I mean it's been quite tight at the
Really
moment.
slipping down.
Yeah.
Quite fast.
Yeah,
as well.
them too. Yeah. But Baraka now stone last at the moment. I think. Did Swallows make a move? I'm sure they made a move up.
Swallows lost, so they wouldn't have moved up.
No, but before that, the week
got a
before.
draw. They won their previous game.
Yes, they did get
it. So they moved off the foot of the table. They won 9 points, I think. So there has been quite a bit of movement, and still a lot to come. What stands out for me is obviously and it's something we've been speaking about is AmaZulu. That draw column is way above the rest of the pack. And that's obviously like a surprise. Because
big surprise.
If you look at the margins, Pirates and Stellenbosch are arguably the closest, and that's three less draws than AmaZulu. But interestingly, I mean, 2 defeats is not that bad. It's definitely, I guess it counts in their favor in terms of their position, because had they lost a few more, they would have definitely found themselves a few positions down. And it's obviously you guys still have 3 games in hand now.
Well,
depending on the outcome of that Chiefs fixture that wasn't played. It could be very interesting. I foresee a lot of movement in mid-table in the next 2-3 games before the year ends and we get the AFCON break. Which is not really a break. I'm sure we'll be touching on that. But these last few games before the December, Christmas period is definitely going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, the crazy thing for me is, and it's also like when I was at Wits also, 1-2 wins get you up there. And if you look at us, right, 18 points. If we get our 2 wins, if we get the 3 points against Chiefs, and we win our next game, we go all the way up to 3rd immediately. I mean, it takes us to 24 points. Imagine if we had beaten Baraka, it would have taken us up to 2nd. So it's just crazy at the moment how the league is, how close it is. Obviously, like we said, Sundowns pulling away a bit, but for the rest of the teams, it's so close at the moment. And at the same note, if you look at the the bottom teams, if a couple teams throw some games away, they might end up at the bottom. So it's definitely going to be an interesting December, I think, and then we'll head into a very, very strange new January. Actually, talking about January, did you hear about that Dstv Compact Cup?
Obviously the announcement came at a time when all these issues and controversies were at the foreground. And then the PSL comes over everything and just drops this bombshell of a new cup, which the format is just, I mean, insane. It's basically the Carling Black Label Cup on steroids, because now fans get to vote for players from all 16 teams to feature in 4 regional teams, which is it's a crazy concept. And
so that's kind of what I read. I tried to read it over a couple of times, and it still didn't make sense to me, simply because, like, how are you expected now? If they choose you, must you go play with other teams' players? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically
is that the concept?
A call up. Yeah, it's a call up to a regional team, and you purely playing for the fans.
Let's play Western Province against Gauteng then.
But obviously the timing is difficult. You can't put as many fixtures and traveling budgets and all that.
But that's exactly the issue.
It's going to be played over 2 weekends. I think the 22nd and then the 29th of Jan. And I think it's going to be at one venue, so it's going to be like a sort of mini bio bubble for those 4 teams and those sets of players. So the 4 teams are divided into regions. Each region has four clubs, and fans get to vote for 5 players from each club. One Disky Challenge player, and then 2 goalkeepers from the four clubs to make up a total of 26 players each.
So
yeah.
So I mean, my first thought is okay. If they do want me to go play for them and I get injured while playing in this thing, and then all of a sudden you can't play for your club team who you contracted to, first of all, and who pays your salary. So
And who
you know
pays
what
your
I mean?
medical bills?
Yeah, exactly. So what happens? Who ends up paying for it? Who covers all those costs and things? Yes, they'll cover your costs for traveling and hotels and things like that. But I'm talking about other things where first of all, like, you need to prepare for the upcoming games in February. So almost you're kind of doing a mini preseason because the games will only commence in February. Then all of a sudden you're cutting your preseason short to go play the DStv Compact Cup. Just doesn't make too much sense for me. So I'd like to see what the club bosses will make of that and what they'll decide also, because I can assure you that not everyone's going to agree.
Yeah, I mean, it leaves a lot for us to wonder, like you're saying, with injuries. I mean, who coaches these guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Every team has a coach that is obviously working towards getting their team ready for the resumption of the league.
Yeah.
And then you lose 5 players, and which coaches these guys? Are they going to take periodization into consideration, the loading of the players? There's so many different factors that goes into putting a team together and having to play a little competition. More so when it's the nature of it is where fans vote for players. So it's really a massive disruption, I think. And were clubs consulted on this decision, or was it a decision made by the PSL Exco and the sponsors, and they just thought, oh, it's a good idea, good concept, good way to make some money off selling more decoders and all that. And then what happens to the clubs, the coaches, and the players who get injured? All these questions obviously need to be answered, and I'm sure we'll get a bit more clarity going forward. But I do feel it's not the best decision to have something like this. It's fun and entertaining and all that, but you're dealing with professional footballers here, and there's risks involved.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Upcoming fixtures for today, Chad. 4 games today. We AmaZulu went away to Chipper. Now they're hosting Chipper. 2 games after each other. I mean,
feels like a 2-legged calf match.
Yeah, must be some sort. They're playing their own cup. I mean,
I guess they'll be looking to try and get the edge on one another on aggregate there. But yeah, obviously it's going to be interesting to see how they come out differently, having played each other just a few days ago. So that's, I think, all eyes, pressure should be on AmaZulu to win this one at home. And then obviously you guys up against a Marumo side who are gaining some steam there with Dan Malasela.
Big one for us today.
That's another, as we said, staying in Joburg, having to travel to Polokwane. Or did the team stay in Polokwane? Do you know?
They stayed in Polokwane, yes.
Okay, so at least it saves them a bus trip, and they would have built some camaraderie and stuff in the camp for a few days. I did see the videos where a couple of guys were thrown into the pool at the hotel. So I'm sure that will build some good morale in the squad. And then Sundowns Baroka should be a walk in the park for the mighty Downs. I don't see Baroka causing an upset there, although stranger things have happened.
Stranger things.
I think three coaches versus old Tobejane is a complete mismatch, and if they are surprises, they are definitely raise some questions over those 3 coaches at Sundowns. And then obviously Soweto Derby.
That's the one I'm looking
Swallows and
forward to.
Pirates.
I think that's also the one we're looking
Should-
forward to.
Should be good. Dylan Kerr's first big test at Swallows, and like we say, it's a Soweto derby, and anything can happen in games of this magnitude. Players are motivated to do well. Not much coaching required. Just a few tactical instructions here and there, and that should be entertaining, especially with Pirates not being very consistent.
Yeah, what I look forward to obviously is the Pirates taking on Swallows, then having to take on Sundowns on the weekend, so they've got a
On
hectic
Friday.
schedule. Is it on Friday?
Yeah.
Then they take on
Friday evening,
Sundowns on Friday, so quite a hectic schedule for them. Two big games for Pirates. Let's see how they fare. Champions League draw, Chad. Did you have a look at the Champions League draw? Did you have a look at the big balls up?
Saw some drama there. Guys being drawn against each other. I wish they mistakenly drew Barcelona. Just
Against
to give us another
Villarreal.
shot.
Let's
see.
see.
Obviously a redraw putting some teams against each other. That obviously PSG Real Madrid clash is going to be massive.
Yeah.
I think with PSG superstars, a lot of talk of Messi going back to the Bernabeu, Mbappe going to the Bernabeu, and there's been constant talk of him going to Madrid.
Sergio Ramos scoring a winner.
Sergio also obviously having switched sides, so that should be a good one. Already memes going around that Casemiro and Sergio Ramos are going to have an altercation about a tackle on Messi, which is something completely insane to even think of when, just a year ago, they both were up against Messi and terrorizing him, pulling him and trying to break him down. And then obviously, Chelsea getting exactly the same draw. What are the chances? They drew Lille in the first draw and then again in the second draw.
I didn't see. I only heard about the first draw where they drew Man United against
PSG.
Was
PSG
that it?
Yeah, PSG United. It was supposed to, which would have been interesting. Ronaldo, Messi again. And obviously, the rest are of. I think there's definitely some advantages for the big guns to go advance. I mean, City against Sporting, Salzburg against Bayern, Ajax, Benfica. Ajax have been doing really well in the Champions League. I think they're unbeaten, so that's also advantage to them. And then Atletico against United is definitely an exciting one. I think that's more of an even match, not as big as PSG Madrid, but definitely a more even match. And Villarreal, Juventus should also be interesting because Juventus aren't at their level best this season either. Liverpool should have it fairly comfortable against Inter. And that's basically my predictions is Bayern, Ajax, Atletico, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. I'd give that on to Juve, and then PSG over Madrid.
Yeah, I think maybe closer to the time we'll have a look at it again, see how things are going, see if we can run another competition, some score predictions or something. We'll have a look at that. But I'm hoping Man United, who I do always not support, but I'd like to have them winning, But I always fear a Spanish team for Man United, so it's not going to be. It's not going to be the best moments for Man United fans, but let's see. Hopefully we'll pull something out the hat. Might not be a rabbit, but it might be something.
Possibly.
Other than that, Chad,
nice one, Pops.
Yeah.
Our guest, due to unforeseen circumstances,
he did come up. He did come up. He said he showed up on the screen, but then there was no picture or anything. He did message me now. He said, network is giving me trouble here. Even yesterday, couldn't get on. So, it seems that there is some connection problems.
We'll give him your benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
but next time
maybe
we'll
it must be
definitely
load
call on.
shedding. Must be load
We'll
shedding.
call on VAR next time.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. But in all else, thanks so much again, Chad. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Always.
it's been a good one, a nice shorter one this time. Obviously, we didn't run the highlights, which is fine. And yeah, we'll just keep taking it forward and seeing how it goes. So appreciate it.
Guys can let us know in the comments if they do prefer it this way. And any tweaks or anything, just drop us a comment. Let us know if you want to see the highlight videos back. We'll try and make a plan, and still try and keep it as short as possible. But yeah, give us a like, a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Mark Williams moment.